a single true Muslim in Persia. Yeah, like if the current living master is not teaching or is not giving Nam Dan, or not, people aren't reaching enlightenment, and the third eye isn't open, then is there really a single true Muslim in Persia? Well, there could be, I suppose, but I'm not claiming that I know that they are or aren't enlightened, and especially when I'm not enlightened. What? So you're not enlightened, and you're pontificating about whether they are enlightened in current Persia? What the heck? There is not a single true Muslim in Persia? Well, within Orthodox and all these religions and any of the fundamentalist extroverted religion, like if they're extroverted, they're probably not true Muslims. If you're not going inward, if you're not going deep into meditation, if you're not sitting in silence and sitting still and sitting there for extremely long hours, then you're probably not a true Muslim or Christian. Okay. Oh, you're just saying that if you're not like an enlightened mystic, following the mystic path, you're being distracted by Orthodox organized religion. Yeah. Well, what I'm saying is organized religion sometimes just wastes your time in extroverted activities. Okay. Oh, you're saying if you're extroverted, you're wasting your time? Oh, yeah. Then why isn't your tennis playing a waste of time? Well, yeah, okay, well, a person does need exercise, even if they were a practicing meditator and all this stuff. You can't really meditate 24 hours. You do have to sleep and... Oh, okay. Not everyone was as careful as Hajjid Sheikh Ahmed. To some, Ketman was useful in the preparatory period. But when they felt themselves sufficiently strong, they proclaimed their heresy openly. Yeah, and I've become so sufficiently strong. I'm both strong physically, and even my fat percentage has dropped, and my muscle mass, well, it hasn't gone up that much, but my weight went down, and I did go to the satsang, and I've been to see the master, and I do meditation every morning, and I don't let the master distract me, keep me up late from doing meditation. So I went home, I didn't hang out all night, and I went home and got up and I did meditation. Okay, so I'm sufficiently strong to proclaim this heresy openly in this podcast. Okay. Here, for example, is the description of itinerant preachings of Sadra, the disciple of Avicenna. Okay. What are you doing reading about these Muslims within a Polish book about the captive mind, about totalitarianism? What is going on with you? Okay. Well, it's heresy, so it's openly heresy that I'm giving openly. Why would you turn to a bunch of mullahs when you're trying to solve a politics issue with the totalitarianism and captivate your mind into the stuff with the Nobel Prize? Yeah, well, he too was afraid of the mullahs. Well, aren't you afraid of the mullahs in this podcast? The Persians, that they say they're not true Muslims, or the Iranians, they might complain. And right now you've got pretty much the Russians complaining, you got North Korea complaining, you got China complaining, the Iranians are complaining. Aren't you afraid of the mullahs? Yeah, I could be. He too was afraid of the mullahs. To recite their distrust was inevitable, but to provide a solid basis, furnish proof for their accusations, that would have been to expose himself to endless persecutions, and to compromise at the same time the future of the philosophical restoration he meditated in this podcast. Therefore, he conformed to the demands of his times and resorted to the great splendid expedient of Catman. When he arrived in a city, he was careful to present himself humbly to all the mojichets, or doctors of the region. He sat in a corner of their salons, the towers, and remained silent usually. Yeah, well, when I go to the satsang, or I go on the tour of the master, I remain in the corner and remain silent usually. Well, but you spoke modestly and you speak brazenly in this podcast. But when you're in person, you're modest. He sat at a corner. Well, actually, when they had the food come, they had no table. It's funny. I sat in a chair on the side with no table, modestly eating my dinner. And he sat in a corner of their salon. Their toddlers remained silent, usually. He spoke modestly.